The wonders of life got the prettiest side for everyone to enjoy. Standing up close by the Christmas tree, glimmering light, I am right where I wanna be. I will be home for a couple of days, wander around with you. You and me in the cold, thought it'd never be true. Wherever I go, I got you. Oh, I have stopped running, there is no way trying. You better loosen your belt. Drinking hot wine by the fire, don't care of anything else. It's Christmas.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 25 Days of Christmas, an Advent podcast where we take a look at a Christmas movie or special every day until December 25th. I'm Patricia, and I'm here with my sister Carlene.
Hello everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about the 2003 British comedy film Love Actually, written and directed by Richard Curtis. Now, this is going to be a very, very long discussion because there are 10 subplots in this movie featuring multiple characters. So, the first one that it focuses on is a rock and roll legend named Billy and his manager Joe, as they're performing a Christmas version of the song Love Is All Around by the Trogs and trying to get the #1 record on the Christmas charts. Then we have another subplot involving with a couple who recently got married named Juliet and Peter. And Peter's best friend Mark recently recorded the wedding, but in secret he actually is in love with Juliet. Then we have another subplot involving with the writer Jamie, whose girlfriend had cheated on him. He decides to go to France so he can focus on his writing, and he has a Portuguese maid named Aurelia, who he falls in love with. Then we have another subplot involving with a couple named Harry and Karen. He has a secret affair with his secretary named Mia. We have the Prime Minister David, who falls in love with his secretary named Natalie. We have a man named Daniel who recently lost his wife and now he has to raise his stepson Sam on his own. And there's a subplot with Sam involving with him falling in love with a girl named Joanna. There's another part of the story where it involves with a girl named Sarah, and she appeared in Juliet and Peter's wedding with her friend Jamie, and she's in love with a creative director named Carl, and they're both involved with, working together in the same company that just so happens to be where Harry works at, and she falls in love with Carl, but she has a complicated relationship involving with her mentally ill brother named Michael that she needs to take care of. We have another subplot involving with a guy named Colin who wants to go to America so that he can be able to get a girlfriend because the American girls are more free-spirited compared to the stuck-up British girls. There's a couple named John and Judy who are body doubles for sex films. There's just so many other subplots that are going on in between. It is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But it all ties around due to the fact that it takes place several weeks before Christmas.
And it also ties in because they are connected. They know each other.
Yes.
Not everybody knows each other, but they're all connected in some way. And one of those stories where the characters are connected on like a little...
Yeah, there's a little bit of connections in every single one of the characters. Like, for example, with Billy's song, it's played all over the radio and it's on TV. With Jamie, he actually does go over to Juliet and Peter's wedding because he's good friends with them. As mentioned before, Harry works at the same job that Sarah works at, and John and Judy are doing various scenes for a sex film that just so happens to be the same sex film that Billy watched after he was trying to leave off of Elton John's Christmas party.
Yeah, but some of them are friends, some are neighbors, some are connected through work.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, it's like a web of people. And it just kind of talks through their stories during the holidays, like Patty's saying.
Yeah. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm actually going to post the long diagram so you can be able to see all the connections between every single character. So have fun. All right. So let's talk about what we thought of this film.
I think, like you said, maybe we should go piece by piece.
Yeah.
And talk about, like, each relationship a little bit.
Sure. So let's start off with where the movie starts. It involves with the rock and roll legend Billy Mack, where he's trying to do this #1 Christmas album based off of a pre-existing song, and he absolutely hates it.
I think that this subplot was interesting. It brought some humor to it. It brought a little bit of some intrigue. But to be quite honest, I think that there was some like overly sexualized themes.
Yeah, there was a question from one of the radio announcers is like, who's your favorite person you ever shagged? For those who don't know, shagged is a British term meaning like sex.
Yeah, but I think most people understand that.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, I think it's just almost every single scene that he's in, he's referring to sex, drugs, rock and roll, and we're like, yeah, we get it. I just think that character development or that storyline, like it was meant to be a little deeper because it's showing you like someone who, when all is said and done, like the most connected relationship he has is with his manager.
Yeah.
But I think because they like really like saturate most of his scenes with that whole like drug, sex, rock and roll stuff, it kind of like dulls it for me. And
sure.
I think some of those scenes, that's just one of them. Literally almost every single scene he's in, he's doing something vulgar or sexualized. It ruins it for me. I typically like things if it's, to be a little more subtle and a little more intrigue.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes
like literally
shit's hanging out all for everyone to see.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, there's even one scene in particular where he's in a talk show and he's answering questions, and it involves with just nothing but like sexual innuendos.
Yeah, it's a ton of that. So even though I think that like some of the scenes are funny, overall it's one of my least favorites because it's just too much sexual innuendo.
All right, so let's go over to the next subplot involving with Juliet, Peter, and Mark.
That one's a really tricky one. I really actually like this love triangle. And the main reason why I like it is because they set it up for you not to really know what's going on in the beginning. You can't tell if he's in love with his friend or if he's really mad because this girl came in and maybe broke up their friendship, or maybe he just doesn't get along with her, until it's discovered that he's actually secretly like in love with her. And he didn't want to jeopardize his best friend's relationship, like his relationship with him, and then the relationship his best friend had with this woman.
Yeah. So
he just remained silent until she discovered that he was secretly in love with her. And then he comes clean and tells her. And I do like how it ends. I like how he was honest with her it seems with no real like motives for him to like steal the girlfriend or the wife away. Just to kind of be honest with her because at this point he's been discovered, so might as well be honest.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the scene in which he actually shows her the wedding tape and it's just nothing but her.
Right, that's what clues her into her discovering that he in fact doesn't hate her but is actually like in love with her.
Yes.
Well, the scene I'm referring to where he kind of comes clean is at the end.
Where he uses the cue cards.
Right. That scene where he's using the cue cards and coming clean, I like at the end where she kind of gives him a kiss just to kind of like say thank you or, whatever that was, whatever it meant. And he tells himself like that's enough. I appreciate that because it is important for him to like let that go, not only for the sake of his friendship, but I'm really, really big on like boundaries. And I know that in our world and in our movies, like boundaries, a lot of people have this notion that all is fair in love and war, and I don't agree with that. I don't believe that. I do think that there's some boundaries, some lines that should never be crossed.
Right.
And so like, the fact that he's secretly in love with his best friend's wife is just a no-go.
Right. Exactly.
It's not good.
Yeah.
So the fact that he told her because she found out, and he's now letting it go and like allowing that part to like be done. I liked. I appreciated that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go over to the next bit of the story. So Jamie and Aurelius.
Oh, Aralia. Aralia. This is another one. This is where we're talking about boundaries and things. Like, it's so horrible what this poor man experienced.
Yeah. I mean, it literally starts off with Jamie going over to Juliet and Peter. Yeah, He went over to Juliet and Peter's wedding, and then when he got home, he sees that it was a friend of his who was just coming to get some CDs, and then he hears his girlfriend.
It's not a friend, that's his brother.
Oh, that's his brother, yeah. So he finds out that his brother comes in, and he thought it was just getting some CDs, and then he was just going to leave, but it turns out, no, he's actually with his girlfriend.
Yeah, his brother was having an affair with his girlfriend. And that's horrible. I mean, again, being cheated on, just very cruel and very selfish. But then, like, your own brother, like, your own family, like, wow, like, that's just on a whole other level of just not okay.
Yeah.
So, like, he goes away to France, not only to write his book, but to get some space to do some healing. And he meets this character, like you're talking about. And I don't know, like, I do feel like they didn't spend a bunch of time, like, developing their romance and developing their love, which is okay.
I mean, there's so many subplots.
Exactly. There's just not enough time to develop. That's fine. You're just kind of left to do that on your own. But essentially, the course of the time that he's there during the holiday season, he falls for this woman. And I like that relationship. I thought it was interesting. The only piece I didn't like was at the end, and it's silly. It's nothing a big deal, but when they finally are together and he brings her to England and introduces him to some of the characters that are part of the subplot.
Yeah,
and that's how you can see how some of them are connected. She makes like a reference to like how some of his friends are good looking and she maybe picked the wrong guy. And I just kind of felt that joke to be in poor taste. Like, this is someone who literally just had an experience of someone cheating on them. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like that joke was in poor taste.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think she really fully knew about the situation.
No, I know, but I'm just talking about in the writing.
Oh, yeah, in the writing.
I think that was in poor taste. But I like, what I really liked the most about their relationship is, like, they're talking around each other because they speak different languages. So sometimes he will say something and she will counteract with, like, a response that, if they spoke the same language, would, like, answer their doubt or their question.
Yeah,
but they keep missing each other because they don't know the same language, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, like the scene in which when, he's writing outside and she's bringing him something to drink, she lifts his papers and they fly all over into the river and they jump down to try to save it. And then they're basically saying the same things, like, oh, fuck, it's cold. And he says, oh, shit, this is cold. And he's like, I hope that I don't risk myself for writing words that my grandmother can write. And so they're basically saying similar things to one another, but they don't understand each other because they're speaking completely different languages. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I think that the scene in which they're actually learning how to speak each other's languages was really nice, where Jamie's learning how to speak Portuguese and Aurelia's learning how to speak English. So that was actually really nice, where they were able to have that one scene where she is working at the restaurant and Jamie and all of Aurelia's family and pretty much everybody in the neighborhood comes by just to see Jamie propose to her, and he's speaking like really broken Portuguese, but she accepts it. So I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
All right, next story. Let's go over to Harry and Karen. Oh boy, this one was...
Which one is this one? Remind me.
That was the guy who was cheating on his wife with the secretary.
Oh, yeah. Again, see, like, that's the thing about this movie that really kind of irritates me. Like, there are way too many interpretations of, like, sexual misconduct. You know what I mean? And that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, in this situation, like, this married couple is... I don't even think on the verge. Like, there was no physical affair, but the beginning of an emotional affair.
Yeah.
And, the wife is very intuitive, and I guess, she's really kind of clued into her husband. And also there are some little hints that kind of let her know that something's up. And she kind of catches him before he engages in a physical affair. This story, even though, again, like, there's some really emotional pieces, and... we were talking about this yesterday. The woman who plays the wife, which I remember,
Emma Thomason.
She has a scene where it really kind of hits home what's going on, and she's so emotional and raw, and you can feel that with her. Mm-hmm. So it really displays how great of an actress she is.
Yeah,
she has such a deep field of emotion, but like the story itself really irritates me because Mia, the temptress,
yes.
Like, I just can't with women who, like, think that that's okay, you know? Like,
what does Harry see in her?
We could probably sit here and read a long list of different things you see in her. I don't think that's the problem. I just think that it's important for people to really understand and respect, like, the sanctity of different institutions. Whether you fully agree with it or not, like, I think sometimes a lack of respect is really what's missing. And a lot of people don't believe in marriage, and that's fine. No one's pushing you to believe in something, but to respect it, you know? And this is someone who's married. And obviously, like, if we're going to go through it, both parties are at fault.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to say that Mia's villainized her. You know, he's the one who's actually married. But I just think that, like, those dynamics, that storyline really irritated me for that.
I think that the highlight of that storyline was when Harry went to go buy a necklace.
That scene is hilarious and enjoyable. But then, like, when you look at the overall picture, like, this is someone on the verge of having an affair. And it's not okay.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah. You know, there's the other dynamics to their relationship. Like, at the end, I don't know. Like, maybe your listeners can give their opinion on what they think. But
yeah,
there's a scene when, you know, obviously the whole airport thing and the airport arrival thing, when he's gone for whatever trip he's gone and he comes back, and he asks her how she's doing. Like, if you clue into her response and her facial and body language, she's not okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know, like, they try to end things, like, on a happy note with all the relationships of the couples, but that one still is, like, question mark. Because her face and her body language and how she expresses herself,
yeah,
she's not okay.
I mean, it is going to take a while for things to patch up. I mean, after all, she did catch him almost having an affair.
Yeah, a physical affair, because when you've already engaged what he did, that's an emotional affair.
Yeah.
Know? But yeah, so that was interesting.
Very interesting. All right, let's go over to the next series of stories. So David and Natalie. So the focus on the Prime Minister and his secretary.
I really love this story, because I love Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Hugh Grant's fantastic.
He's a great actor, and to me, he's a babe. He's always been a babe. He's a babe. I know he has, like, skeletons in his personal closet and all of that stuff, and I'm not going to disregard any of that, but, like, look-wise and acting-wise, he's a babe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to me, he plays that heartthrob, like, so well. He's just so witty and intelligent, and there's something really, like, not overtly sexy about him. And so it's nice to see him in any kind of movie I've seen him in. I've always enjoyed. And Natalie's beautiful, her character. I think that the whole, like, let's focus in on a flaw, which is her weight, and, like, exacerbate it, was kind of like, all right, can we please, like, be a little more creative?
Yeah,
this normal size weight, like, get over that.
Yeah, this movie is really anti-overweight. Not only with Natalie, but also with Auralia's sister.
Yeah. You could just tell, like, the piece is definitely, like, conducive to its time, where certain things were just okay to, like, be blatant about, and then nowadays probably wouldn't stand.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. There's also quite a few comments throughout that it's very sexist, a lot of this movie. It just is. I really like their relationship.
Yeah, the thing that kind of, like, stopped it for a brief moment was the scene in which that it appeared that Natalie was flirting with the President of the United States.
Well, it's just, you know, he really liked her, and when he kind of, you know, saw that kind of sexual encounter or exchange, that kind of put it off for him.
Yeah.
But the scene I really liked the most with them is, like, their first interaction. After meeting her, he initially, like, was interested and intrigued by her, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
You know?
And they even went to the Christmas pageant and kissed backstage.
Yeah. But it was, like, an immediate attraction for him. And
yeah.
That was really nice to see.
Absolutely. Now let's probably go into what may be one of the worst story in the bunch is John and Judy, the body doubles who work in a sex movie.
Literally, like, not to be rude, but what is their point of their character?
Like, I have no idea.
And we don't even really know how they're the only one we know how they're connected to is one of the guys is, like, a film director or photographer, and he's on set.
Yeah.
That's how he knows them. But essentially, like, what purpose do they serve? I don't know. Maybe that's being a little bit too rude. we can maybe make that debate for all of them, but to me, they're just the least interesting. They're sweet, like they seem to be sweet people, like their depiction of two sweet characters.
Yeah.
The whole scene was just to bring nudity and to bring sexual, like, what else was the part of their...
Yeah, like, did they have any reason on why to bring it up other than just a throwaway line from Billy saying, let's go watch porn, and it may have been the movie that they were filming?
Yeah, no, I honestly, like you were saying, like, it's just like a throwaway just to add nudity and more sex to this movie.
Yeah. And then we go over to debatably one of, if not the worst story in the bunch, Colin. Mm-hmm. So the whole point of his character is that he feels that British women are too stuck up, so he goes over to America so that he can have sex.
You're right. I think probably his is the worst, because at least between that couple, they're doing a job, and then they like each other, and then they fall for each other in the job. But Colin is really ridiculous to me. Like, he's just a guy looking for love, and he feels like he can't make that connection with British women. Fine, we understand that. But then, like, here we go again, pushing that notion, those stereotype that somehow, like, you know, American women are completely, like,
oh, yeah,
corn dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Know. And, like, in the middle of winter in Wisconsin.
Like, why Wisconsin?
And then, like, in the middle of December, you're going to somehow find... Like, it's, yeah, horrible.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean, he just goes over to, like, one seedy bar in Wisconsin, and then he's...
And stumbles upon 4 gorgeous half-naked women that invite him to their home. Please. Come on. What the hell?
Yeah, this may be the worst one.
Yeah. Okay. And honestly, like, not only the worst one, but one of the worst scenes is at the end when they... What's that woman's name?
Which one?
The one that kisses him at the end.
Oh, you're talking about his friend Tony? The black guy?
Yeah.
What was it? Carla, I think that was the girl.
Yeah, but I'm talking about her real name.
Oh, her real name. Denise Richards.
Denise Richards. Like, she looks so awkward. Like, not number one, you're not going to... I don't even care. Like, you have to be bonkers out of your mind to, like, the second you're meeting someone you do not know, you're gonna, like... make out with him, like land a kiss on a complete stranger as an introduction. Like, who does that? Number one. And number two, like, when she does it, like, this is supposed, obviously when you watch a movie, like, what makes a good actor is you believe that that's their story, and you get lost in that, and it doesn't feel like they're acting. That whole scene, it's painful to watch because you can tell she's uncomfortable kissing this man, and she does it so awkwardly. So it just makes it worse. It just makes the whole scene worse because you could tell it's a forced acting. Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, like, did they do this in, like, the first take or something?
Exactly. Like, can we please rewatch that scene?
Like, can
throw it out?
Yeah. Can we just re-record it again, even if we're here for, like, 4 hours?
Bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hands down, worst storyline.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move into, like, something slightly better, but Let's go over to Sarah and Carl.
Which one's that again?
The girl who is working, and she's the American, and she falls in love with the younger coworker.
Oh, yeah, that one's bad.
Yeah.
That one is bad because, in my opinion, it's bad because, like, again, there are elements that may lend to reality, but if you are finally going to take your shot at someone, and, you know, the scene is she's in love with this guy for a number of years, finally, they both somehow... He makes the big move, but, you know, once they're finally together, she can't break away from the obligation of always being available to her brother. Yeah. And that kind of ruins their romantic evening. But then they just leave it there. And it's like, if someone is really, like, if he was really, really interested in her and finally, like, made the move, he's going to try again. Like, it's not going to be one or nothing. Like, he would have tried again.
Yeah, and that scene where they were at the bedroom, like, literally, this was the first time he was ever there, and they were just making out, the phone rings, and then she answers the phone, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm not busy, when there's a almost half-naked guy just right over there.
Yeah, like, obviously, like, it's to show you her lack of boundaries and, like, how she puts her brother, who isn't really in any kind of need...
Well, he is mentally ill.
Right, but he's in a facility where he's being taken care of. Like, there's just some things around it that don't make sense. Like, he would not have the ability to call her 24 hours a day, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, like, he's not in crisis. He's not, like, he's stable. He's fine.
Well, I mean, there was that one scene where he almost tried to strike her.
Right, but I understand that. But I'm saying, like, when he calls, he's under supervision.
Yeah.
He's not, like, he's in a supervised facility. So he's not in any kind of danger, immediate danger to himself. So there's no need for you to be answering the phone at, like, 11 or 12 o'clock at night. Like, go about your business, you know? Mm-hmm. But I just think that scene, it's sad, it's frustrating, but it's also, like, if you really sit and dissect it, it's not necessarily realistic, because I think most people, if you've gotten to the stage where you're literally half naked in someone's home and your moment is interrupted, you're probably going to try again, or at least have a serious conversation, be like, hey, like, you know, I really want to get to know you, but, you know, this is kind of a problem. How can we figure this out?
Sarah and Carl's story is very underdeveloped. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much incomplete. It doesn't have, like, a fully satisfying way to close things up.
No way. Yeah, it just does. The story could be really interesting, but it's so underdeveloped that it just, like, it's like, what just happened? What did I just watch?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, even though that Sarah is connected with multiple characters, you can just cut hers off and you wouldn't miss anything. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the last story. So Daniel and Sam. I think that Daniel's side of the story starts off really, really sad, especially since his wife just died, and now he has to take care of his stepson by himself. And his stepson has the issue with the fact that he has this huge crush on a girl named Joanna, who's an American, and she's planning on going back to America for the holidays, and he wants to be able to confess his love to her. And the only way to do it is during the Christmas pageant. So yeah, what did you think of this one, to round things up? This is the last one.
I like this storyline. I like that it shows you the bond and the connection that they have, and then that they continue to develop with one another. I like that this little kid is, you wouldn't, you know, sometimes like it's weird to think, but we all can experience love in different ways at different times. Mm-hmm. And maybe, personally, my belief, maybe I don't necessarily think a 10-year-old or 11-year-old can have the same capacity of loving someone the way a fully formed adult would. Mm-hmm. But I think for his age, yeah, like, he can love someone for that kind of space and time that you're in.
Sure.
It doesn't happen maybe very often, but it's cute to see. I like that he really kind of throws himself into the project of learning an instrument to impress this girl. And I do like the relationship he has with his stepdad. And the stepdad, I like that he, again, is fully invested in having, like, real and open relationship and conversations with his kid. And not, like, making him feel like, oh, you're 10 years old, shut up. Like, you don't really know what love is. But it's, like, actually indulges him in his belief. And says, okay, well, let me help you if this is what you believe to be so. I
mean, especially this is hard because that's not his biological son.
Yeah, but he has raised him. My only thing, and this is, again, like, a nitpick, is, you know, this kid just lost his mom, and the man just lost his wife, and the little boy, like, it jumps right into a love interest right away.
Yeah, this woman named Carol, and she has a son, and they meet up at the pageant, and it's almost like they fall in love with each other right away.
It's trying to, like, point, like, love at first sight kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just feels too soon. And then also the little boy, like, and I get it, like, you're not going to watch a movie, like, where they're focusing on death and things like that, but it almost just feels a little bit unrealistic. If you're really, like, grieving someone, you're not running to be with someone else. That's probably my only criticism. Yeah. The rest of it is fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about which one of the storylines was our favorite.
I really like Hugh Grant.
You like the Prime Minister story?
I like the Prime Minister story. I like she's cheeky, and I like that about her. I think Keira Knightley's beautiful, so it's always nice to see her. She's a great actress.
Yeah. It's actually funny that Mark, who plays as the best friend to Keira Knightley's husband, that's Andrew Lincoln, who you may know as Rick Grimes from Walking Dead.
Yeah, and you know I like that show. Well, yeah. I haven't watched it all the way through.
I mean, the show is like how many seasons at this
8
point?
Or 9.
Yeah, it's pretty long, and I think they're at their last season right now.
Yeah, I haven't watched all the seasons, so I don't know, but I've seen enough to know I like him. Mm-hmm. I think in most of them, there's a little bit of good, so I like them. I like, and forgive me for not remembering all their names, but I like Hugh Grant's character.
Yeah, the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister. I liked Colin Firth.
Yeah, Colin Firth, that's Jamie.
Jamie, I like his love story.
Yeah, my favorite is definitely a tie between Jamie and Auralia's story. Mm-hmm. And I also did really enjoy the storyline with Juliet and Peter. That was also, I think that was actually really nice. I mean, that scene in which they played All You Need Is Love during the wedding reception.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
That was a really nice touch, mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think most of the relationships I did like, and there's pieces and elements I like.
But I also really enjoyed Daniel and Sam's relationship as well.
Yeah, me too. And also like the cheating husband and the wife. Like,
oh yeah,
there is some serious themes there that I really enjoy.
Yeah, Harry and Karen's story was actually really nice.
And she's funny, and she's great, and he's funny. We know he's a great actor.
Oh, so. Yeah, the wonderful Alan Rickman.
Or was.
Yeah. He passed away a few years ago.
Yeah, so for the most part, aside from just maybe 2 or 3 of the themes, the other ones I enjoyed and I liked.
Yeah, I feel that it would have been a much more tighter story if they would have removed some of the stories and then
give more focus
to the other ones.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I think if I had to choose one, I really liked the Prime Minister's story. That's probably my favorite.
My favorite is Jamie and Auralia's story.
Okay.
All right, and we both said that our least favorite story was Colin's story.
Yeah, if you really put all the pieces together, that one's the least believable, and it's just like...
It's awful.
It's awful.
All right, so right before we give our ratings, I sent you a link over to the 2017 Red Nose Day, skit that they did.
I didn't watch it. Forgive me, I will watch it.
And okay. Tell you what, you didn't see the skit, but I did, so I'll give you my thoughts of it. And also, we will not give our thoughts of the 20th anniversary news reunion that Diane Sawyer did. We haven't seen it on Hulu. Maybe we'll see it in the future. But let's talk about the Red Nose Day skit that they did around 2017. This was around 13 years after the original film. It focuses on Julie watching TV with her husband Peter, and then Mark comes along and he has the cue cards promoting Red Nose Day, and then he said about do you remember that one of the wives I was going to be marrying in the future? Well, it turns out he did. He married the model Kate Moss. At that point in time, he's actually growing a beard because I think he was doing Walking Dead at the time. So there was the question about do you like this beard? And then she was like, no, I don't like it. And then we have the other subplot involving with the Prime Minister, in which he lost the position and then he gained it back. He starts doing a dance again, just like he did in the first movie. He actually fell down the stairs and then he's limping to himself. He actually is limping to himself. Yeah, he's limping. Yeah, because he fell down the stairs. He's married to Natalie now, and she reprimands him for falling down the stairs and dancing because he's not supposed to. He's already past that point. And then he gives a speech talking about that even though the times are very hard compared to how it was 13 years ago, there is still love and hope towards people. And then we have another storyline involving with the rock and roll star Billy Mack, and now he's doing another charity single, which is a version of Gimme All Your Lovin' by ZZ Top. He's promoting this because he has an autobiography coming up and he wants to be able to promote this song. And he talks about that, unfortunately, his manager had died from a heart attack. And then we have another subplot involving with the salesman Rufus. Instead of doing the stuff involving with the jewelry, now he's giving red noses away for Red Nose Day, and there's a huge line in Walgreens. Then we have another subplot involving with Jamie and Auralia. They're married and they have 3 kids together. Auralia speaks perfect English. Jamie is still speaking Portuguese, but not very well. And she reveals to him that she's pregnant with their 4th child. And then the final story involves with Daniel sitting down and reuniting with his stepson who lives in New York City. And he has actually proposed to Joanna, the girl from the pageant. And then it pretty much ends with the support of Red Nose Day and giving to this particular charity. So if you're interested in checking it out, I'll leave a link in the description below. All right then, so let's rate this movie in watchability. Would we watch it every year, every few years, or once and never again?
Probably every few years.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say every year, but every few years.
Yeah, I would say maybe like every 1 or 2 years. Like,
I would say 2 to 3.
Okay, then. All right, let's rate it by Santas.
It's strange because even though it has Christmas in it, I just don't see it as a Christmas movie. I don't know. All right, let's try to squeeze this in. It's kind of like, remember in the
Holiday Inn?
No. Remember in this movie where he's trying to squeeze Christmas? If you really love Christmas, instead of, you know, the rock and roll guy in the movie trying to add the extra syllable.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's kind
right.
of like trying to squeeze this movie into the Christmas theme.
Yes, I remember.
It's like, if there's a Christmas tree in a movie, it's a Christmas movie. We're rating it on Christmas? Like, remind me the rating. It's like...
I mean, I guess in terms of, like, how are we rated as a Christmas movie,
okay.
and how are we rated in our enjoyability of it?
Okay, because if it's, like, for other things, it might have a different rating.
Okay.
Enjoyability as a Christmas movie, it's probably a little bit lower.
Okay. I would probably rate it maybe like a 2.5 or a 3.
Yeah, I'd probably go around a 3, 2.8.
Yeah,
3.
because there's some storylines that should have been cut off.
I agree.
But the storylines that they do have that are good are really good.
Yeah, and it's still an enjoyable movie, and it's funny, and some scenes you cringe a little bit, but overall, like, it's enjoyable to watch with your family.
Yeah. All right, so that took a pretty long time to discuss about this movie because there was a lot of things to say about it. It was pretty much the length of a regular podcast, so I hope you enjoyed this extra long episode of 25 Days of Christmas. Let us know in the comments below about what your thoughts are of this film. Let us know about if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Give us your suggestions of what other Christmas movies or specials you want us to take a look into. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to every single one of them, but we will do our best. Tune in next time as we talk about another Christmas movie or special. Until then, see you later.
Bye, guys.
Gaze upon the sky, Christmas on my mind, somewhere from a place up high above. There's a song of love traveling afar, seeking us to warm up